I had beaten the Elite Four, traveled Kento, and defeated Red a countless number of times. Even though I had completed the main game over and over again, I had a feeling of nostalgia for collecting the unknown Pokemon. A couple of my friends had their collections filled, but in my mind it really was not all that important. The ruins of Alph and Soul Silver was just one of those things I never really found interesting. It was a Tuesday night when I had the nerve to play my Soul Silver game again for the first time in 3 years. As soon as I loaded up the game, I found myself sitting in the Pokemon Center on Route 32, next to the Union Cave. I noticed a few of my Pokemon in my party. Alakazam, Raichu, Gengar, Feraligatr, Umbreon, and Lugia were all on my belt. I remembered using my all-star team to defeat my enemies, and now they would help me again to catch all of the unknown Pokemon to complete my personal quest. I headed north on Route 32. I fought a level 4 Rattata and easily defeated him with my level 97 Raichu. I guess Thunder was not the best attack to use. Laughing a bit, I traveled towards the ruin. A little north of the magnet train tracks, I found a small patch of grass missing from the overgrowth. When I stepped in this empty space, no Pokemon could attack me. I faced left, right, up, and down, but no Pokemon could touch me. Somewhat amused, I laughed at how this spot was even here in the first place. I got a little hungry and put down my DS. After 3 Hot Pockets, I had my fill. I walked back towards my room, but noticed that Adventure Time was playing in my brother's room. I watched Finn and Jake for about an hour, completely forgetting about the DS. After a couple of reruns, I finally went to my room. Somehow I was engaged into a battle with a Pokemon. Strangely enough, I was fighting the level 66 unknown. I thought all unknown Pokemon were capped at level 5, but this one was really different. The unknown Pokemon looked like the infinite symbol, but it had 3 short nubs on its right-hand side and a cross protruding from its left. Throwing many Pokeballs at the creature seemed to enrage it, and its hidden power attack grew very strong. My Raichu was almost defeated by this unknown, but since I had run out of Pokeballs to throw at it, I had to flee. I received a message saying, "You can't run away." My Raichu's health was in the red, so I decided to attack. With one thunderous bolt from my injured Raichu, the unknown was defeated. When the battle had ended, I was mad at myself. Even though I had wasted all my Pokeballs, I still felt as if the unknown should have been caught with at least one of the 22 Ultra Balls in my bag. I thought that my sister had picked up my DS while I was watching Adventure Time, but I was in the exact same location as before. I thought that Pokemon could only attack you while walking in grassy areas, but this was an exception. I saved my game file as it was time for bed. While laying on that hard sofa that I call a bed, I replayed that unknown Pokemon battle over and over. I regretted the fact that I was unable to catch it, but after a while, I fell asleep. The next morning at school, I talked to my friend Kat about the unknown Pokemon. Kat asked me how I had fought a level 66 unknown, as those Pokemon were believed to be capped at level 5. I tried to describe the shape of this mysterious creature, and she doubted my words. She even pulled up a listing of unknown Pokemon shapes from Bulbapedia, but I still could not identify what I had fought. I really wish that I had taken my DS to school in order to show her that location, but I conveniently forgot it on my bed last night. Arriving at home, I rushed into my room to find my DS. It was still on my bed, under some covers of course. I turned it on, ignoring my daily Hot Pocket snack, just to see if I could recreate the event. Loading up the game, I was still in that exact same spot. Something seemed a little different though. First off, the time still showed 9:41 p.m. Tuesday on the Pokegear. A little freaked out, I decided not to move my character from that spot. Looking over the screen, I noticed something was wrong. A little line of black pixels was cut into the rock formation directly to my character's right-hand side. It was so faint, but my eye caught it. I decided to walk my character directly to the line of missing pixels in the rock's face, and I felt a strange sensation in my hands. Numbness has overcome me, but I gathered up my strength and pressed the A button as I faced the absent pixels. Nothing happened, and I convinced myself that this must have been some programming glitch. I heard my mom walking in from the hallway, and I turned to look at her as she stood in my doorway. She asked if I needed any groceries from the supermarket. and I answered back the request of more ham and cheese Hot Pockets. She complied, as usual, and headed for the garage. When I glanced back at my DS, I saw the top screen was all black. The bottom screen still showed the menu, so I figured that this was another annoying glitch. Moving around a bit, I noticed that my character was bumping into walls. Deciding to use my Raichu's flash move, I was able to see what was actually around me. I was somehow transported into the rock formation on Route 32, and I could see the small pixelated lines to the far left of my screen. Having nothing to lose, I walked to the right, only to find pools of black holes where water was supposed to be. I wondered if this was supposed to be an explorable cave, as there were gray item capsules on the ground. I tried to open a couple of these gray balls, but the text bubble just appeared for a second, showing a blank text box. After giving up on the items, I decided to make my way through a snake-shaped path that head north. I then was engaged into a Pokemon battle. This Pokemon was actually a Steelix, and somehow it was a level 66. I defeated it easily with my Feraligatr, and I continued to head north. Finally, I had made it to a ladder that led down to the next floor. Using Flash again, I was able to light up the second floor of this cave. Seeing lots of missing black pixels, I figured this is where the developers called it quits. I kept walking east on a distorted path, watching my step to avoid black voids. Looking closely at the irregular patches of the cave floor, I spotted what appeared to be dead unknown. For some strange reason, I felt really nervous to proceed. Being curious, I continued my journey. The menu just turned to black after a certain point on the walkway, and turning back a couple of steps did not bring it back. Fearing that I would lose my progress, I continued east. At last, I had finally reached the end of the road. It was a graphical graveyard, filled with errors, walled marks with different sprites, and unknown lying on the ground everywhere. On the top of the screen, I visualized a huge rock-looking object. Walking closer to the anomaly, I inspected that it was more of a deep purple color, and also shiny. I had entered a chamber at the end of the unfinished cave, and I was truly starting to become terrified of this whole ordeal. A sign was staked into the soft, damp cave floor in front of this ugly sculpture. Feeling uneasy, I pressed the A button while I stood in front. A text box appeared, and the game seemed to lag for a second. A strange text appeared, and I could not decipher it. I could hear a strange noise coming from the DS. At first, I thought it was a cry from a Pokemon, but it wasn't like any cry that I had ever heard before. I turned my volume up all the way and listened closely to the sound that was coming from my game. I had already made it this far, and my ears stayed wide open. From what I could tell, this object was repeating the words ish. Wait, maybe whoosh? Finally, I was actually able to hear this voice clearly. For just a second, in the back of my mind, for a moment, I thought about the possibility of Pokemon becoming a reality, as I loved this world more than my own. I was able to escape my family, unloyal friends, and overbearing teachers through this fictionally created place. Somehow, the DS froze completely. I tried moving back towards the entrance to this enigma, but my character would not move an inch. Then suddenly, the screen went black. I tried to reset the game, but my save file was not there anymore, but a new game option had taken its place. At this point, I was very angry, and I wanted to take the DS to school in order to show Kat. I needed to show proof of what I saw was real, and that the glitch had corrupted my game. Out of desperation, I texted Kat around midnight, sending her a text message reading, "My DS froze because of that stupid glitch. My game data was also erased. Please help." About 2 minutes later, the only response that I received was, "Ha ha, LOL. This really hurt my feelings." My only friend, Kat, that had been with me on so many adventures, had finally abandoned me. She treated me like a liar, and there was no way of me proving my innocence. Crying softly, I fell asleep, awaiting the next day of ridicule. I awoke the next day, looking straight at a double-paned window. This was really strange, as there was a small balcony outside of these large windows. I wanted to turn my head to look around, but realized that I couldn't. It felt as if a sudden paralysis has taken over my body. I just stood there, waiting for it to pass, but nothing happened. For a moment, I was completely frozen. I wanted to walk outside onto the balcony to see what there was. I needed to move my body, but nothing happened. Finally, I was able to turn around. I could see this computer on a desk, in front of a grayish-looking wall. In the corner of my left eye, I could see some type of red rug, and stairs heading down. Now, to my right, I spotted a Wii and an older-looking TV. My head was forced straight, and I felt numb. On the inside, I felt like crying, but no tears dropped from my face. Taking 3 steps to the left, then 2 steps to the right, I was forced to travel down the stairs. The next scene was so surreal that I will never forget it. For a split second, I felt if this place was so alien, yet so familiar at the same time. Walking down the stairs, this voice called out to me. In a feminine voice, I heard, "Hi, Sabrina, you're finally awake." Fighting against the numbness of my body, I wanted to scream my name, my actual name. No words exited my mouth, and I was overcome with a sickening feeling. At last, I'd finally realized what had happened. My wish had finally come true.